first Arab country, was the first African country to get a political relation with China, which was in 1956.
Right.
In that time, Egypt was in very difficult times after President Abdel Nasser time, but this was the first political relation with China in the new history. Since that time, we have a very strong relation. We have a very strong cooperation economically, with culture, and also in tourism, and also in different sectors. When we come now, in the last 10 years, China have a new dream, the Chinese dream, which is to get mutual benefit for all over the world. China in 2013 started to have a new initiative, which is the Belt and Road Initiative,
Yes.
which is known also as the New Silk Road. If we know some about history,
yes,
we know that the most famous old or ancient trading route, which was starting from China, going through Middle Asia and India and Persia, and then come to the Arab countries, and through Arab countries go to the Roman Empire. In that time, it was a trading route. The main product in that time was the silk product,
yes,
and this was the most expensive one. That's why it's called the Silk Road. So China now want to revive again the Silk Road and have two names. One is Inland Silk Road and the 21st Century Maritime Silk Road. One is by sea and one is by land. And also another one by air, and also another one by internet.
Okay.
There are four now.
All right.
So there are four Silk Road now. So the most famous one, which is known as the Belt and Road Initiative. The Belt and Road Initiative is simply want to go through trade, to give financial support, to give economic support to all these countries. If we look to these countries nowadays, they are all developed countries, whatever in Far East, Middle Asia, and also Arab countries and African countries. All of them are developed countries. So China want to give help, support to them economically to increase their living environment, to increase the infrastructure, to give new airport, new seaport or maritime port that will give good, better connection to all these countries together.
Right.
For sure, the benefit will be for all these countries, not only in China. That's why the Chinese Silk Road called win-win cooperation, that everyone will have benefits from this cooperation.
Now, Egypt is very well situated. Egypt is a regional energy hub. It has a strategic location. It straddles the Suez Canal, which is, of course, the fastest shipping route between Asia and Europe. How essential is the positioning of Egypt for this Chinese initiative?
In my opinion, and also from Chinese side, they think Egypt is very important country in the Silk and Road Initiative,
yes,
because of two things. The first thing, the population. We have 100 million population. If we check this population, we can find that around 50% are young generation. 50% are young generation. That means this is the future of the country. Not only that, the second thing is the location of Egypt. Egypt in the middle of Middle East, North Africa, connecting Europe, Asia, and Africa, connecting three main continents in the same time. The same thing also now, Egypt has a strong political relation with all the countries. We have a very good trade agreement with African countries, the COMESA. We have a good trade agreement with Europe. We have a very good trade agreement with other Arab countries. So any Chinese company or any Chinese enterprises, if they want to go in many places in one time, I think Egypt is the place for them. Also, for the last 5 years, Egypt has very stable policy. Now, from the last year, we have the new investment law, which come newly to open up the country. Yes, we need to have more advantages on this new policy or this new law. But anyway, it became better than before, because now if you want to come to Egypt, you can have a very multi options of free zones, whatever in Alexandria, in Suez Canal, also in Upper Egypt, in MENA and Beni Suef. We have a lot of new economic zones and free trade zones, which could attract many companies to come from China and move their factory or plant to be here and then from here they can go all over the world.
Indeed. Right, Mr. Ahmed, let's talk about the economic cooperation between Beijing and Cairo. China is currently the biggest trade partner for Egypt. For the first time since 2013, between the two countries, trade has reached $13.8 billion US. Let's talk about the balance of trade between the two countries. And is the growing volume of trade serving the interests of the two countries, or is it higher at one end, lower at the other?
There's no any country going in parallel with China.
Yes.
China, with any country, it is the first trade partner. China now is the first trade partner with almost 180 countries. The same also in Egypt. China is Egypt's first trade partner.
Yes.
In 2017 was almost 12 billion US dollar is trade volume. Last year was almost 15 billion US dollar. This was the last number last year. 90% of this number goes to China. So 90% of this number is Chinese product came to Egypt. However, we need to make balance. How we can do balance? Only with investment. So now we are attracting more Chinese investors to come to invest in China.
Chinese investors to come
Chinese
invest
investors to come into Egypt.
Yes,
sorry.
yes.
So in last year, 2019, we have almost 7 billion US dollar investment from China to Egypt. This came in different sectors and infrastructure, in the new capital, and also industry. We have one of the biggest fiberglass factories all over the world is now located in Egypt, in Suez Canal economic zone. So the investment, Chinese investment in Egypt, it can somehow make balance between the trade and the investment. So we buy product from there and they come to invest in us.
In the country.
So now Egypt, for the last 3 years also, they have a lot of new regulations about importing goods from other countries, especially China. So this is affect in somehow the trade volume, but it affected in the positive way. So now we have in building material sector, we have some powerful companies now in Egypt here. In fiberglass, as I mentioned, in textile, and leather is coming also. All these Chinese investment have been done in Egypt for the last 3 years.
Very good. Right. Mr. Ahmed, let's talk about Egypt's participation in the Beijing summit of the Forum on China-Africa Cooperation, the FOCAC, which Egypt participated in last year. How important was Egypt's participation in this forum? Also, Egypt this year, 2019 rather, has a very important position as leading the presidency of the African Union. So again, in its capacity as the head of the African Union, how was the participation of Egypt in this very important forum?
Beside this, we can see a very active communication between Egypt and China in the last, since 2014.
Yes.
2014. Since President Al-Sisi came to the view, then in the last 5 years, we have like 8 meetings have been done between the countries, two leaders, Chinese President Xi Jinping and also Egyptian President. 8 times in 5 years, this is too much.
It's a record.
Yes, it's big record also. Whatever in Egypt and also other countries. Our participation in China-African Summit was because Egypt was the country, was the chair, Egyptian President was the chairman of African Union last year. So he was participating as Egyptian president and also as African leader to lead the African continent. As we know also, China have a lot of investment in African countries. We can see in all African countries, this investment came in railway, high-speed railway, in oil, in new energy and industry, and also in a lot of infrastructure highways have been done in African countries, all of it done by Chinese investments.
Indeed. And this is also to serve the Road and Belt Initiative.
Yes, this is the main purpose now. All China policy for the last 8 years working in one thing, which is Belt and Road Initiative.
Indeed. Right. Chinese firms have also been involved in several projects and big investment opportunities here in Egypt, different processes taking place at the new administrative capital, for example. These firms have offered expertise with local engineers, hired thousands of laborers, created lots of job opportunities, etc. How do you see this kind of collaboration?
When I talk with a lot of Egyptian friends about that, they are very angry. Why we would let Chinese companies come to here? Why we would let them come to earn our money? But my point of view is very different because when they come here, they come with technology, they come with equipment, they come with know-how. So with their technology, you can learn a lot. Also, when they come, whatever they invest, or they are coming as contractors, but they will help to do better movement in the market. Like, for example, in the new capital, we have some of Chinese companies working there, and it is one of the biggest in the world in this field.
Sector, yes.
In this company now, around 3,500 employees, 3,500 Egyptian employees.
Yes, job opportunities created.
Around 120 engineers. Like, you can see a lot of levels in this company, not only low employees, you can find also engineering working in this company. 3,500 one working in one company now. If we look also in Suez Canal Economic Corridor, we have the China-Egypt Economic Zone, which is called TIDA, have now 77 Chinese company working there, or 77 Chinese investor and industry working there. They are investing around $1 billion till now, and their target is to be $2 billion US dollar investment. If we calculate small calculation about the taxes from this $1 billion, will be around 56 million US dollar annual income come to Egyptian government. And 77 company, if one company or if one factory have around 1,000 employees, you can calculate how many one working in these companies. So I think they are doing a very good and very healthy movement in the market, not only with employee, with labor, and also they will help to balance the trade volume of Egypt, because they are working here to feed the market, and they are also working here to export to other countries abroad.
Right. Mr. Ahmed, because we're running out of time very quickly, I still have quite a lot of topics to discuss, but I did want to talk about the cultural side of the relationship. Now, a number of Chinese tourists have been visiting Egypt. We've seen an increasing number of Chinese tourists compared to the previous years. How do you see this improvement in the visiting of Chinese tourists, and what is it that attracts them to Egypt, in your opinion? They have also a very cultural base, and they're very interested in culture and history. So what is it that makes Chinese tourists come, and what can encourage further tourist activity?
I have a special story, just small story to tell you about. When I first go to China, it was in 2008, I was going there to study Chinese. When I go to meet any Chinese friend, we have a lot of people from all over the world, from USA, from Canada, from Germany, from all over the world. So we meet Chinese friend. I'm from America, okay. I'm from Canada, is okay. I'm from Thailand, is okay. But when I say I'm from Egypt, you can see their eyes start to, wow, Egypt. How is the pyramid? How is the River Nile? How is the Egyptian mummy? How is everything there? So they are very excited about Egypt, and they know a lot of things about Egypt, because as you know, China and Egypt are one of the ancient civilization, one of the fourth ancient civilization in this world. So they are very exciting to visit Egypt. In the last few years, we'll find a growth in the tourists coming from China to Egypt, because also in 2017 we start a charter flight from different cities in China to Egypt. So in this year was the high volume. It was around 350,000 Chinese tourists, and this is a very small number. If you look other countries around us, it's more than 1 million now. So we still need to do a lot of work to attract more Chinese tourists, because now in China, if you want to do advertising for your country, don't go for the traditional advertising. You need to go for the new advertising, which is about the social media, which is about the mobile phone, to attract the new generation. You just make a small movie, just make a small song or video clip in this country, this will be booming, as happened now in Turkey. A lot of Chinese tourists going to Turkey now, whatever have a lot of political issues in Turkey and not safe as it Egypt now. But a lot of Chinese going to Turkey more than Egypt. In Dubai, why they go to Dubai? Because they have, wow, the tallest building in the world. They have Burj Al Arab. They have a lot of things, have good marketing. And there is a good existence for Dubai and UAE and China, because every day they have a lot of activities done in China to attract more tourists. Right. So I think we need to do more job in this kind of tourism, because with tourism, you can attract more people. They will know this country. With tourism, you can also go for investment. You can go for more cooperation, and also you can enhance the culture cooperation between the two countries.
Absolutely. I'm afraid that's all the time we have for today. I'd like to thank you very much, Mr. Ahmed ELhusseiny Eid, the IFCF Organizing Committee Director of the MENA region. Thank you so much for joining us this afternoon.
Thank you for having me
and
today.
for all your insight.
I
Thank
think
you.
China is a big country, so we need to have more time to talk about all these topics.
Next time, hopefully, Mr. Ahmed. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Ladies and gentlemen, with that, we wrap up today's edition of Cairo Local Time. We do hope you have enjoyed it. You're in the company of myself, Angie Meher. Many thanks for watching.